Well, hello there and welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Braden, per usual. I hope that you've been enjoying this little bit of a series that we're doing this week. If you missed Wednesday and Thursday episodes, make sure you go and listen to those because today's episode is not going to make any sense without the context. So go listen to Wednesday, then Thursday, and then you can hop over here. So on yesterday's podcast episode, we went through our tax calculation. And today we're going to pull it all together with one specific example, and then we're going to talk about quarterly taxes. So let's dive in. So here's our example. Elle graduated college in May of this year. She decided to go straight into entrepreneurship as a photographer. Her business made $25,000 and she had business expenses of $7,000. Elle paid $100 in student loan interest, which is an adjustment. She had no itemized deductions. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to calculate Elle's tax percentage. So first we have to find net business income. So we said she had $25,000 in business income and $7,000 in expenses, which makes her net business income. Pause for a second for you to do the math. 25,000 minus 7,000 is $18,000. Next, we would add in any other income Elle had. So Elle did not have any other income. That makes it really easy. But if she had a part-time job, a full-time job, she rented property, if she had a spouse who had income, we would add that in here. Elle's is zero. So Elle's total income is $18,000. Now we subtract her adjustments. So we said she had an adjustment of $100. So her AGI is $18,000 minus $100. So Elle's adjusted gross income is $17,900. Elle does not have any itemized deductions, which we didn't really cover yesterday. I cut that out to make it a little bit simpler. But in short, all this means is that Elle is going to deduct her standard deduction from her AGI in order to get her taxable income. So Elle's AGI was $17,900. We deduct her standard deduction of $12,200, which leaves us with taxable income of $5,700. So Elle does not have very much taxable income. Her income tax on that, she's in the very first income tax bracket, which makes it very, very easy. We just calculate 10% of her taxable income, which is $570. So $570 is her federal income tax. We calculate self-employment tax as 15.3% of her business profit. Remember, her business profit was $18,000. So 15.3% of that should be $2,754. And then when we add those two taxes together, we get $3,324. So that is her total federal tax percentage. So if we do this quick math, I've not done this yet, so let me do it on my computer or on my calculator really quick. 3,324 divided by $25,000 equals 13%, 13.3%. I'm going to round it down to 13. 13% is Elle's federal quarterly tax percentage. It's the term I made up, but it's what I would tell Elle to be setting aside for her quarterly taxes, for her federal quarterly taxes. So 13% of every dollar she earns should be saved for her quarterly taxes. And that's the starting point to all of the cash flow processes that we would take Elle through in the Unfuck Your Biz framework. So with that in mind, let's talk about quarterly taxes. So we now know all about taxes. We can break down how they actually work and how much we need to pay. But the question is, do we actually have to be paying taxes on a quarterly basis? And here's my top tip for you. Even if you won't be penalized for not paying quarterly taxes, it's always a good idea to pay your quarterlies. You need to save the money for your tax bill, even if you don't have to pay in installments on a quarterly basis. But if you have to save it, you might as well pay it. And no one wants to file taxes at the end of the year and owe $12,000. That's no fun. A lot of us do end up owing penalties if we don't pay quarterly taxes as well. So let's get in that habit. So how we're supposed to pay our taxes, how the IRS would like us to do it. Well, we're technically supposed to estimate the total tax that we would owe, which is difficult in and of itself. We would think we have to project our income. We're expecting to make this amount of money. We expect our expenses to be this. We're going to divide that. We're going to calculate the tax, and then we're going to divide it by 4 and make those quarterly tax payments. I find this to be difficult for multiple reasons. But first of all, if I tell you you need to pay $3,000 in taxes this quarter, it's kind of arbitrary. Like, are you just gonna, like, you can't just like pay in little tiny chunks because you have to pay it quarterly. So you have to save in little chunks and hope that at the end of the quarter you have $3,000. Instead, I like to teach a more practical approach. So in this approach, we estimate the percentage you're going to owe on your gross income, like we did for Elle with that 13%. And then we set aside that percentage on all of your business income. And then we just take the total amount that you've set aside throughout the quarter and we pay that to the IRS as our quarterly payments. Much simpler. So the next steps that you need to take is you need to calculate your own percentage. You need to come up with a comprehensive cash flow system to actually save the taxes along with paying yourself and paying for all your business expenses. And then you need to save the taxes and pay the taxes. So to help you out, I have a quarterly tax estimation guide. We will post that in the Facebook group along with today's episode. So if you're not in the Facebook group, go join. If you are in the Facebook group, and once you're in the Facebook group, make sure you download the quarterly tax estimation guide, work through it, and post in the group if you have any questions. Because our goal for you is, after this podcast series, to be able to know how much you should be saving for quarterly taxes. So that's the goal. We hope to help you. Once you calculate it, I would love for you to share your quarterly tax percentage in the group. Or if you don't want to share the actual number, just share with us a very exciting GIF about how excited you are to have completed the process. So I hope that this fun little bootcamp series was educational for you and not like overly complex. Let us know, share with me, let us know what you thought. And I can't wait to be back in your podcast app next week. Hope you have a good one.